Hello and welcome to my next Mobile Lunch video. We are on my World 1 account and today I want to go through some dungeons that I'm currently farming on Dungeon Proficiency 6, and this basically allows me to farm lower level dungeons and get the maximum level items from it. So of course, we all know that some dungeons have higher chance to get these some items, and this is one of the earliest dungeons that I like to farm. I mean, you see, it's mostly crap. But yeah, this is 72. Everyone knows this dungeon, I think, and you can farm it for getting the celestial things, and also it's good for Soul Stabber. So if you are lucky to get like Thorn from the actual banner right now, this one is actually quite nice. This dungeon here is also pretty nice. This weapon can be good for guild hunt bosses. This one is pretty nice. So this dungeon here is also nice to farm. Of course, jewelry is harder to get than other items like weapons or armory, but still this dungeon has like no bad items on it, so I like to farm this dungeon as well here. The problem with those two dungeons, of course, is this little guy here, the soul, can be quite annoying. I mean, everyone who plays the Chaos Tower right now knows that little guy, or at least after you played like map 12, I think. This guy also shows up a lot. But yeah, on high level, it's not that bad because he's actually quite fast. It's not like, imagine he was like level 10 here or something. Like, if you have a little bit of AP stealing on your items, you might just lose to round limit. But on a high level, the soul is not that bad. I mean, yeah, it slows down the run a little bit, but it's okay. Like, you could also steal his little immunity or invincibility with different heroes. Like, you could play like Aqualon and just make like the first attack, for example, or if you are lucky, Cornelius Prime, of course, and just do his first attack. But this dungeon here is also nice. Of course, 92 if you want to farm the Saint set. I'm lucky that I can farm 17 D2, so I don't have to farm this one. But yeah, this dungeon is also quite nice to farm. Like, this one is not so good because of Titan set. This one, of course, Jester set, but I guess this can be quite tough and the weapons are also not so good. So like the Mercy dungeon might be better. This one is also insane. Like, the weapons here, lightsaber, if you have Prellbock or you are planning to play Prellbock at some point, like if you want to save up the golden boosters, what I really would recommend, I would either do it on like getting maybe Fidget with maximum 1 talent, and after you did that, you can go for Prellbock talents, like get him full, even if you're free to play. If you want Arena, of course, you have to do Lilith with the boosters. But yeah, if you're just looking for PvE content like Prellbock, at some point it's crazy how strong he is. Like, maybe you can have a look at his damage here. Okay, he's too slow, I guess, so he's not really getting any turn. But we could just like do that once here and do this attack. And now you see his damage is quite nice. And this is even without Hellfire modus. You always have to remember that he can also activate Hellfire modus, which will give him 40% attack damage. Like, this is insane. Like, no other spell has such a high attack up. So he is really, really strong, and he's on the everyday banner, which makes him like a pretty solid choice if you want to use your boosters, at least in my opinion. It started like we talked about him being strong like a long time ago. A lot of guys didn't really like agree with that, but people starting to catch up on how strong he is at this point. And yeah, we will see here no items again, but doesn't really matter. So this dungeon here is also, yeah, the weapons aren't so great. So map 12, I also don't recommend farming like this one because the weapons are not so good. This one I also have on 6 because this thing is really nice and this is like the only good way to farm it. But of course the Spectre set is not too good, and this weapon can also be quite nice if you play Drillbad. But I wouldn't recommend farming this, like it's only if you really want the weapon on a high level. Otherwise you could just farm it on low level, like this dungeon is also not good. But this one for the Goliath pieces is quite nice. The weapons again aren't that good. I think somewhere on map 7 is also some dungeon with Goliath set like this one. Like this one can be better, but also the weapons aren't the best, so it's pretty tough decision. But the next dungeon that I would recommend here is of course this one, the Dracula, like map 14. You can farm both dungeons. This one, of course, because of the Weaver set, but the next dungeon, the Mercy dungeon, of course, because of the Jester set. And there can be some problems with farming the Mercy dungeon because of, yeah, the dungeon will scale up to your highest cleared dungeon. And since if you cleared 17 D2, you will have like 145 heroes like myself here. And Mercy level 145 can be quite tough. So yeah, it's maybe not the best idea, but the other option like 10d2 is also not so easy. You have to be fair that you kind of outscale them. You maybe think like 10d2 is so tough and unplayable, unbeatable because you struggled early on in the campaign when you first beat it. But the thing is, now you have high level and you actually outspeed Krampus because you have way more. Yeah, you outscale him. The higher the levels goes, the more the equipment will outscale monsters without equipment, and of course those monsters have no equipment. So the Krampus dungeon might be not that hard as you might think, so you should definitely try it out if you struggle versus Mercy. I mean, Mercy, you really need, like Mutzen is perfect versus Mercy, like agility down, she's faster, and so on. But if you struggle versus this dungeon, it can be quite challenging, like the boss fight. This one also, of course, can be quite tough. You can see he's pretty fast, like I don't even like attack them all here. But yeah, still should work out. And again, we don't hit any items here on this video, of course. I will not go into this then. I mean, I would do it on like easy mode because it's pretty long dungeon. But I wanted to or whatever, we can just go in. But I wanted to do the Cornelius Prime dungeon as well. Like this will be the last dungeon that I will show, because map 15, in my opinion, is not worth it to farm anyway. And then we have like map, well, at least like the first dungeon. I'm not quite sure, but we have the Void Assassin dungeon, of course, that you can also farm for equipment, but we will go through that later on. But the higher you go here, the more difficult it might become, because some of the bosses are still pretty strong when you just up-level them. But you see here, the run is pretty smooth and fast. I mean, those guys can be quite annoying if you don't have like a full damage squad like I have here. They are quite tanky. And it's also not so fast to get to this Dungeon Proficiency 6. So you really have to think what you really want to farm. As I said, I think Prellborg is the way to go. So you should farm like some dungeon with Goliath set and Reaver set. Or the Celestial sets for Agility Heroes is also a way to go. So 11D1 will always be a good option. And 9 or 10D2 is also good options because of the Saint set. Other than that, like other items for like dexterity, damage dealers like Busted aren't that needed. Like most of the time players will have agility or Prellborg, for example, as damage dealers. So those are pretty much the sets that you want to go. This one, of course, is nice because of she just one-shots the Candy Elemental. We all know that feeling, maybe. But now she gets counter-attacked by our Busted. So this dungeon can be quite difficult here. Like this armory is totally useless. But the sets such the Jester set here is just too good, and Rottenmaul also on some heroes can be quite nice. Like this dungeon is pretty bad. Like the only thing that you might need is this weapon here for Guild Hunt. But yeah. So we will go into Cornelius Prime. Like I wouldn't recommend farming this anyway. I just want to test out how strong he actually is here on maximum level, because I think Cornelius Prime is pretty much the toughest dungeon, or the toughest boss fight that there currently is after like 17T2, of course. That's another dungeon because it's not a regular boss fight. But other than that, this boss fight is really pretty much the hardest thing that you can play. Because he got so much defense and he's annoying. So I also don't have Curse here on me. So might be that, I have actually. I have Krampus, of course, with Cursed. But we will see. Maybe I will even fail this dungeon run here. But yeah, this guy also pretty annoying to play against. Everyone who ever played against him knows that. And this dungeon also takes pretty long. So this is just for content. I really wouldn't recommend farming this, even if you want this weapon for Joanne. Like it's fine going for it like once. Like that's also a important thing that you have to keep in mind, that you most likely want to farm all these dungeon just until you get that one item that you are really looking for. Like if you get that Jester armor level 71 and that Jester ring level 71, you're pretty much done. Okay, if you have like multiple heroes who can wear it, you can farm it even more. But other stuff, like when you just want a weapon, like this dungeon for Joanne's weapon, for example, after you get it once on maximum level with the perks that you're looking for, you can just farm this dungeon on low level then again after it. Because there's really no point on doing more than one run here then. But yeah, we are already close to an end. I think the good no, this dungeon isn't that long. Like it was the next map, the Void Assassin run was pretty long. But yeah, this dungeon run is nearly over. So let's see how tough the boss fight actually is. I'm not sure if I really tried it yet. Yeah, luckily my candy was faster, but yeah, you can see they deal quite some damage, and he might actually kill me now. No, Mutsun is just too fast, so it's not a problem for me because my Mutsun is just too fast. But you can see this broken team with like pretty insane gear and everything. Oh, we just hit a legendary necklace. Pretty sneaky. Again, this armory with attack. But yeah, this was like the hardest dungeon in my opinion. If you want this map, this one is also nice for breaker set. This weapon can be quite nice for busted for guild hunts. And this again, of course, for busted, it's pretty nice to have the hunter helmet or any other dexterity hero, like also Thorn will need it. And like this one is not really good to farm, and again, if you can somehow beat this, you don't need to enrage it. That's the good thing about this dungeon. But that's basically it. Those are a few dungeons that you might want to farm, and yeah, that's it for this video. There are some more dungeons like early on that are possible to farm. I haven't like played them to alignment or to dungeon proficiency 6, so you might even farm like dungeons like this. There are good options here, like if you want this weapon on a high level, you can farm like pretty low level dungeons here. This dungeon I wouldn't farm at all. This one as well. Those are pretty bad here on map 4, map 3, and so on. Like those dungeons here aren't so good. Like if you want the Drill Slammer, you can farm this dungeon, but the set pieces here on the first maps are just too bad. So you will really look for map 5, map 6, map 7, and so on. And you don't really want to farm like the earlier maps here. Yeah, that's it for this video. I hope this helped you a little bit, and I will see you in my next one.